Okay, so happy Thursday. I literally just, I guess not technically literally, because literally the last thing I did is I had a very short conversation with my dad. But like 4 minutes ago, I just finished recording my Nintendo Direct reaction, short version. Had a good time with it. There was definitely some stuff that made me go, oh, that's really cool. Oh, that's really cool. And I was so fucking happy to see Thousand Year Door at the end. I really was. But aside from that, getting into other stuff for a regular Thursday episode. So the first thing I have to say, the film that I watched last week, Synecdoche, New York. That is not how you pronounce it, and probably sound like a Synecdoche every time I said it. It is Synecdoche is how you pronounce the word. Because, like, I told a friend of mine, I was like, yeah, I watched it. Instead of just telling you what I think, I'm going to make a video anyways. Let me send it to you. And he's like, oh, okay. Like, there's some interesting opinions in there. I'd love to talk to you about it next time we hang out. By the way, this is how you pronounce the name. I was like, huh, that's not at all how it's spelled. Like, I felt like I was probably pronouncing it wrong, but Synecdoche. Huh. But now that I know the truth, I felt like I had to bring that up. I even put it in the description of that video. It's like, I apologize. I understand. I was completely saying it wrong. It was not intentional, but it is what it is. I finished Witch for Mercury. Liked it a lot. I kind of fucking loved it. I've started Licorice Recoil. 5 episodes in, I think it's okay. I think the first 3 are pretty strong. Episodes 4 and 5, like, there's good elements here, and there were also some elements that weren't really working for me as much. Unfortunately, I didn't watch any of it yesterday, but I'm hoping to at least watch another somewhere between like 2 to 4 episodes today. Hopefully get a good amount. Hopefully for me, the show kind of gets back on track. I'm not a hundo on what the next show I'm going to watch is. I have a short list. I know Jose was telling me to watch a show called Sunny Boy. And I was talking to another friend of mine who's like, I'm not a huge isekai guy. Like, there's some I like Konosuba. This, to me, is the best isekai I've ever seen, is Sunny Boy. So I might go ahead and pop that one in next. Actually, there might be something else I watched because Halloween is coming up soon. Like, we're mid-September. I think in October I want to watch Monster, because Monster's been on my list for a while. I know it's not a short one, but given that it's like, yeah, it's about hunting a serial killer, that sounds like it might have a kind of a good Halloween vibe to it, and I'm really looking forward to watching it. But at some point, I don't know if I'll get to it this year or this will be the goal next year. It really is just watching Gundam. I'm gonna try to watch the MSG movies this year. I don't know if I'll start Zeta this year. It might be one of the early things I do 2024. In terms of video games, I had said last week, like, I'm trying to play through Persona 5 Strikers, but I'm not super gelling with it. I dropped it. I finished the first arc. It was like, in terms of the writing, this feels like Persona 5, and I like that a lot. In terms of like its visuals and its music, it feels like I'm just right back in P5. It's a Persona game without time management and social link / confidants and turn-based combat. It does not scratch the Persona itch that I've had. And also just the combat there is there. It's a Muso game. Like, it's very flashy. Like, I'm killing a bunch of enemies and shit, which is cool, but it just never felt that interesting to me. Also, it's a Persona game, so SP is really important. And SP recovery is not something you always have a lot of. So the fact that, like, it's enemy after enemy and wave after wave after wave, and like, I'm just plowing through my SP. This just isn't doing it for me. And then I'm actually like playing as the other characters, which I was liking quite a bit. I just felt like it's like the actual damage we're doing, like, especially when fighting mini bosses and bosses, like, it's so paltry. And not in a way where it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like, it's early game, we're not going to be doing a lot of damage. Like, bosses are supposed to be really kind of tough and shit. Like, yeah, but this feels like it's a waste of my time. Like, I feel like it's like, oh yeah, this is just supposed to be really long and arduous, but it's not fun. It's just long and arduous. It's like, I'm going to finish this arc, evaluate where I am. And then it got to a point where I'm like, I'm just going to finish the arc. There's nothing to evaluate. I don't like it, so I dropped it. Then I picked up Earthbound. Like, I've been meaning to play this for a really long time. Jose wants me to play it, or Wyatt wants me to play it. Clay just played it, and I could not get into it. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Almost any time I had seen gameplay of Earthbound or heard people talk about it and the way it plays and shit, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. And I did the first arc, like I threw Onets, did the giant stuff, and I was like, I'm just not vibing with it. And I think a good reason for that is, number one, I know from my experience with the game, like talking to people, seeing chunks of the game being played and discussed, it's not a game that's really known for its story. It's a very basic, get a bunch of kids together, go save the world. Okay, so it's not the most interesting storyline. What about the character arcs? Ness is a silent protagonist, and it has like Paper Mario 1 syndrome, where like once someone joins your party, they don't really do much for their character afterwards. You're like, all right, so it's not like it's super strong characters either, at least in your main cast. Gameplay has a really cool mechanic with the rolling health meter, but it's just not a thing in the early game. It's like when you take damage, you take the damage. There's not a lot of the actual rolling. Later, I've seen it's like this is a really cool mechanic, but it seems like it's a while before it actually does anything. And some of the more like really impactful moments of the game, like Magic Hat or the ending with Gygas, I have seen that. Like, that's the kind of shit that I'm like, I would want to play this and experience that. But it's like, I've seen people play through Magic Hand. And I'm like, this is really beautiful. I love this idea. And I watched Clay do the entire end game, all the shit with Gygas. Like, yeah, like, this is really fucking cool. But I've now seen it. So I feel it's like, this is cool. I like it. But I don't feel like I need to play the game. Now, the game does have its charm, like it is the reason we have quirky RPGs now, like the quirky, offbeat, a lot of them tend to get like really dark, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, they're all derivative, they're all shitty, no, not at all, but they're also not something that I really get into, and I feel like, again, with Earthbound, it's a lot of just the ideas and the jokes, I'm spoiled on them, it's like, I know Tucson, it's like, yeah, it's a cult that just like worships the color blue and like paints everything blue, and even the cow is blue. And like there's a giant pencil in the way, so you have to get a pencil eraser, and it's not an eraser from a pencil, it erases pencils. Like, that's funny. I really like that. It's like I already am spoiled on the joke, so it's not gonna be that funny to me now. And when I look about it and I think about it, I'm like, well, I feel like I've seen enough of the big moments that I don't feel the need to be like, I really want to see this, because I already did. And a lot of like the jokes and that kind of shit has already happened, and it doesn't seem like the base story or cast is something to really get invested in, and the gameplay just feels really basic. It's just not clicking. So I think I'm good. And I hate to say it, because I know just how treasured and revered this game is, but, and again, I'm not trying to be like, this game is bad, this game is dog shit. It's just not doing it for me. So rather than waste my time with something that I just don't feel like is gonna happen, I'd rather just like, all right, I tried it for a little bit, it's not clicking, and I don't really know if it will, but I'd kind of rather do something else. Which, speaking of which, the Teal Mask came out, so I'm playing through that. I played through a lot of it yesterday. Like, I caught Ogerpon. I won't go into any spoilers about like the story of the DLC or anything, but like, I do like the storyline. I like the lore quite a bit. I think Ogerpon is fucking adorable. I've already caught 2 shinies. Like, I started it for a little bit Tuesday night, and almost immediately, like, as soon as I had access, I could, like, walk around Kitakami, shiny Spinnerack. It was like, that's fucking cool. And I was playing yesterday. I was like, yeah, there's plot shit I can do. I'm just gonna explore. And then I found a shiny Petalil and got a shiny Lilican out of it. That was really nice. Um, I don't know how much more is left for me to do in terms of like its story. I know there's also like the Ursaluna thing, so I need to make sure I catch all these Pokemon. But I imagine I'll play a decent amount today. I'll probably try to finish it Friday. Don't even know if I'll really do a video on it. I don't feel like there's a whole lot to talk about. Maybe like a short one, be like, I played it. This is all the lore. This is what I think about. This is what I think of our new characters. Blah blah blah. But like, I'm definitely having a good time. It runs like dog shit. I don't want to discount that or be like, yeah, the game doesn't run great. But I'm like, I feel like a lot of Scarlet and Violet is playable. The frame rate's not great, but it's playable. There are some areas like the Bamboo Woods, which are terrible. A lot of Kitakami kind of runs like that. I'm like, ugh. There have literally been times where my game like froze for a few seconds. I was like, did my game just crash? Okay, we're fine, but that's scary. That's a fucking problem. This needs to get fixed. Hopefully, because that was one of the big things with the Switch 2 rumors, is that they're working on like a better version, like really optimizing Scarlet and Violet for the Switch 2. Fucking hopefully. I can only like wish that they fucking get that done, because it's kind of ass. Yeah, so apparently yesterday Mexico was having like congressional hearings confirming aliens and shit. That from what I understand, the authenticity of their like mummified, desiccated alien remains is potentially up in the air. But this was a real thing that happened. I'm like, are we really getting to the point where, yeah, this is just legit now, where governments are going to actively be talking about extraterrestrials and was it like non-human biologics and shit? Huh. That's fascinating. Like, that's really interesting. And like, okay, is there really other life out there? And if so, how advanced are they? Are they friendly? Are they hostile? I mean, like, it's kind of like the reason that shit hasn't really happened between our world and I mean, I'm guessing stuff has happened. Maybe ancient aliens, like, shit, maybe you're 100% right. I'm sorry for doubting you then. But I'm like, so are they just like super chill and they just want to kind of help us out? Is it like that episode of South Park where we are just a TV show? Like, we love watching the insanity on Earth. Every now and then we show up, kind of do some things, and then we leave. It's like, are we like toys to them? How does this all work? I'm fascinated by this. Are we going to get like exchange programs? Which, of course, there's always the fear that it's just going to be a serve man situation where like, well, I really shouldn't have been on that first rocket. But it's like, if there's exchange programs, I'd really be interested in going. But there's also the like, all right, is this like, if you go, you're never coming back just because of the technology and the time? Like, yeah, like we have interstellar wormhole travel. When you come back, it will be 50 years. So pretty much everyone you know and love will be dead. Or just, I mean, not necessarily. It's like your parents are going to be dead. Your friends and shit, they're going to be older and it's 50 years. There's a non-zero chance that everyone's going to be okay. Like, would I do that? I don't know. Because there's that part of me that's like, I would love to know, like, I gotta check it out. But the other part is like, I would be saying goodbye to everyone. And like, I would be saying goodbye to my parents. I don't know if I could do that. But if it was like 5 years, 10 years, I could probably do that. It would also, it would suck to be away from people I love and care about for that long. But that's a lot. But it's like, that's doable. That's doable. I might want to. But of course, none of those thoughts are my first reaction. When it was like, all right, there's a Mexican congressional hearing about aliens, and like look at the like little gray ET looking dudes. My reaction was not, we're not alone in the universe. My reaction was not, how is all this shit gonna work? Should I be in terror? My reaction was, oh, I was really, really hoping they'd look like cute monster girls. Because I'm an animal. I was like, man, I was hoping for something that looked more like Ogre Pawn than looked like E.T., man. What is this shit? I mean, like, I'm not like a 10 out of 10 myself or anything, but I'm like, man, I had too much hope. It was like, something I was hoping for is kind of a joke. Maybe I wasn't hoping for it as facetiously as I thought. Damn. But, yeah, aliens might be fucking real, man. So Clay has been working on a game project, and not just like the VN that we've been doing, which I really, really need to make sure I get more writing on that done today. I really wanted to finish the current chapter this week. If it wasn't for Pokemon, I probably easily would have, but regardless, if not this week, early next week, but regardless, like, he's been working on an RPG, and he's been using Unity. And if you know anything about Unity the past couple days, apparently they're going to start, like, really upcharging people. Okay, so it's not like we're upcharging you for using our service. It's for every download of your game, of your project, we're going to charge you for that. And the PR backlash was swift and vicious. People hate this. Like, you guys are a bunch of greedy bastards. It looks terrible. The fact that, and then I also saw something that's like, hey, Marvel Snap runs on that. That's owned by Disney. BDSP runs on that. That's run by Nintendo. You remember the end of Smash Ultimate where you just have that image of Sora and Mario shaking hands, and it's like, yeah, Disney and Nintendo working together? That might happen again. Disney and Nintendo might come together too. I saw one comment. It was like explaining that. It was like, yeah, just Nintendo and Nintendo and Disney, which would be Mario and Mickey, like, coming together to just, like, beat the shit out of Unity and make them roll this shit back because they don't want to lose their bottom line, will be kind of satisfying to watch. Like, say what you will about Nintendo as a company, say what you will about Disney as a company, but them coming together to fight a common threat is kind of funny. Also, there's the fact that before this announcement happened, I believe it was like the CEO of Unity sold like, it was like 20,000 shares or some shit. It was 2,000 or 20,000. I don't remember exactly what the zero was. But just like sold a bunch of shares. Then, shit tanked after this. It smells fishy. It really kind of is like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell my shares and make a bunch of money. Then I'm going to announce this shitty thing. And it's going to tank, and then we're going to roll things back, or it's like maybe buy them while they're low, and then announce the changes go back, and our stock goes back up, and we make more money. It's like, I'm not an economic expert, but that sounds really fucking fishy. Nintendo, Disney, go take care of this. I already mentioned the Nintendo Direct, something that just happened. I finished my video on a little bit ago. When I'm done recording this, I'm going to start uploading that, and then when that's done uploading, I'm going to upload this. And I haven't been reading Mistborn 3. My expectation when I finished The Well of Ascension was like, yeah, around this time in September, I'll be done with the book, and then I can start Dune. And it's not even that, like, I'm not done with the book, but I'm getting close. In like 3 weeks, I've barely touched it. I think it's kind of time to call it. I'm just not vibing with it. And it's not even like I'm reading it, I'm like, oh, this is bad. Like, this is terribly written, this is poorly paced mess, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, I'm just not connecting with what's happening in the narrative. As much as I hate to say it, it's not That was almost gonna sound bad. It's like, as much as I hate to say it, I think I'm gonna have to start Dune. It's like, that's nothing against Dune. It's just I kind of need to cut this loss because it's clear that I'm just not doing anything with this. So I don't know when I'm gonna start Dune. I'm probably not gonna start it today. I might just like start it tomorrow or something. I might try to read a little bit more Mistborn tonight. But like, let's see if we can finally get some. If we can get back into this. But it's just not clicking. Which is sad to say with how much I fucking love the first book. And even with some of my issues with Will of Ascension, I really liked it. Like around this part, like page 200 something. Like with both book 1 and book 2, like I couldn't put it down. And with this one, I can't pick it back up. It's sad to say, but it is what it is. I feel like I should have said this earlier in the video because I don't want to end it on such a sour note. But I think I'm going to go get some chicken tendies and some fries. That's a good note to end on. So I'll see you later.